Find more leads than you can even process. That's multiple listing service. That's the MLS for your real estate agents. Absentee owner information. Find the cash buyers and flippers in any market nationwide. Pull a pre-foreclosure list. And don't forget, you gotta find those comps. Get nationwide access with multiple filters. Powered by PropStream at wokesource.com. Get your 7-day free trial today. wokesource.com. That's wokesource.com.
Get your free real estate joint venture agreement and get notified of upcoming shows. Text JV to 636-330-1444.
Today's broadcast is being brought to you by WokeSkipTracing.com. Look up phone numbers and email addresses with ease, with pricing as low as only 15 cents per match. Not per search, per match. If there's no number or email address, you don't pay. Get accurate data in just minutes. WokeSkipTracing.com. That's WokeSkipTracing.com.
You may have heard the saying, the fortunes are in the follow-up. Now there's a brand new system that is great to help you cold call, text message, drop voicemails, and so much more, all automated. You don't have to remember anything. Just set it and forget it. All you have to do is speak to people. Check it out, wokereply.com. It's a multi-touch marketing campaign where you can schedule to send text, voicemail, email, and even live calls all on autopilot. Check it out today, wokereply.com. That's wokereply.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, women and children of all ages, it's about that time. It's Monday Night Raw, real estate style. What's going on, everybody? I'm streaming live to you right now from the cold icebox of St. Louis, Missouri. It's like 3 degrees outside. We got snow everywhere. Nobody moving around, but we here live no matter what. As long as the internet working, we are good. What's up, peeps? We are streaming live right now on Instagram temporarily. We're listening in. We got some people over here on Clubhouse at ChrisMonroeSTL. If you're listening on one of those two, you might want to hop over to the YouTube channel at ChrisMonroeSTL for the full experience, because we got a great stream for you tonight. Go ahead, put your name in and where you're coming in from, and I'll give you a quick shout out before we get started with the show. Like I said, we are streaming live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and Facebook simultaneously. So we got people looking from all over, I'm sure. So definitely go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, and give it a share. What's up, Edward? I see you. Why you spell my name like that? CRISS. Now you see it right there. Do that look like CRISS? Whatever, Edward. I know you don't mean no harm, but you know that is not how you spell my name. But what up with you? Betty, boom, boom, Betty. What is it? Boom, Betty's in the room. What up? I see you. Hey, good to see you. Periscope people checking in. Candles in the building. We need some candles right now, cold as it is, because I know it's cold everywhere else. What up, Shanita Blue? What it do? Roxanne in New York City. All right, I know y'all cold is up there for sure. What up? Indianapolis is in here. All right. What up, my man? Appreciate the content from Springfield, Missouri. All right, so you right up here with me in the cold for sure. Let's see who else we got up here. Philip, Atlanta in the building. Is it cold down there too? Probably is, huh? Ursula, good to see you from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I see we got people from all over. Justin in St. Louis. All right, so we represent all over, I see. Buy Nelly's old house. Definitely will try. I saw they want $599,000 for it. So good to see everybody that's jumping in. That's probably why they didn't get there yet. Oh, yeah, the icebox. Yeah, the mail has stopped, I think. There's been a problem with that. New Jersey in the building. All right. Yeah, that's what our guest on tonight. He's from New Jersey. He's actually one of the biggest. He said he is the biggest wholesaling company in New Jersey. We're going to see about that in a minute. We're going to talk to him. We're going to pick his brain. We're going to see what it's all about. And that is Mr. Cory Reed. He's in the green room right now. He's about to come out swinging and bucking and swinging. So do me a big favor. Share this video out. Give it a like. Give it a share. It's about that time, y'all. We about to get it popping.
And we have And we have Mr. I Stay Woke. And Mr. I Stay
Woke. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? This is the student master teacher, Mr. I Stay Woke, Chris Monroe, and I'm right back at you with another real estate video. So without further ado, let me bring in Cory. Boom. What up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man?
All right, all right. Glad to have you on today. I see you chilling out. Is it cold up where you are?
You already know, man. Stupid cold up here. 3 degrees where you are, probably 2 here.
Exactly. Where are you from? New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't no joke. So tell people a little bit about you and what you do in the business.
Yeah, man. So, as you mentioned a little bit in the intro there, my name's Cory Rd. I own and operate the largest wholesaling business in the state of New Jersey. We're across a couple of different markets right now, and primarily our businesses we wholesale, but we also have some spin-off businesses that have come from that. We acquire commercial properties, residential properties. We fix and flip. We do ground-up construction. We lend money only in New Jersey right now, hopefully nationwide to come. And we also have a skip tracing and data providing company. I didn't even realize you had one until I saw the intros. I was like, oh, damn, Chris all over this.
Yeah. Hey, it's plenty of, this stuff never ends, right?
Up to go around, man.
That's right. So how long you been in the business for?
So we got started back in 2016. Really didn't do our first deal actually until early 2018 though. So a lot of what we did early on, man, was just same thing everyone else probably does, right? Look at a lot of stuff on Bigger Pockets, try to figure out what's actually going on with this business, what is real estate. And that's how it started for us, man, was just 2 guys and a dream to do something other than work a 9-to-5 job.
So what was it that attracted you to real estate? Was it something you saw online or something, or you got in before the big wave, or what made you get into this?
Oh, I wish I had gotten into it back, a long time ago. But for me, man, I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know that the average person could do real estate, what options there were within the industry. But I used to be roommates with now my business partner back out in Los Angeles when we started this business, and so he actually proposed the idea to me at one point. He was like, man, you know what? We should start a company. And I was like, what do you do? How do you start a company? What does that even look like? To me at that time, starting a company meant you had to have some sort of invention, right? You got to be like a Shark Tank, type of person, to start a company. I didn't think that there was any opportunity to do something in real estate. And he was like, man, we should do something in real estate. It's like a common theme amongst wealthy people is that they're doing something in real estate. And so that is pretty much what sparked my interest into trying to get into real estate. And ultimately, that's exactly what we did. We did start a company in real estate, and where we got our foot in the door was in wholesaling.
Yeah, because that's the thing I thought too. I said, man, you got to have, $1 bajillion, a 900 credit score that ain't possible,
Yeah.
connections, and we can get in the game without that. Wait a minute. Yeah. What's this about? So cool. So you got into the game. Did you have a quick start, or did you have some bumps along the way to kind of get you up and rolling? I know like most entrepreneurs do.
Yeah, no, our start was very rough, to be honest with you. So like I said, it took a long time for us to actually put anything into action. And then when we finally did put something into action, what that basically looked like was we started doing marketing. It was direct mail only. And, it took us about, I would say, probably a month and a half or so to actually land our first contract. At the time, we maybe had 250, 300 buyers in our database in total. And so that deal was a struggle to be able to actually find a buyer for and mark it out. Wound up finding a lady. We still actually are in touch with her today and work with her, but she bought that first deal from us. It was actually a condo up in North Jersey. And it was still to this day, probably the worst deal we've ever done in terms of logistics and what went into that deal and what it took from us to get it done. It was an absolute nightmare, man, a horror story to say the least.
Really? But it got over the finish line.
It got over the finish line, man, but we had to drag that thing across.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's some of the stuff that happens in this game. A lot of people think it's just going to be easy. I'm just going to, send out some mail. People going to call me back and beg me to take their house. It don't really work like that. Huh?
I wish, man. Look, we'd all be rich men if that were the way it worked. But unfortunately not. It's very, very much the opposite, man. I remember literally digging through a dumpster on that first deal to be able to actually get the deal done. It's a long story of why we wound up in that dumpster. But, that's what it takes sometimes, man, to be able to succeed in this business is to persevere through all obstacles, even including, humiliation, being in a dumpster, taking out the trash that you put in the dumpster the night before so you could go load it into a cargo van that you had to borrow from your friend to go illegally dump it somewhere because you don't have the money to actually, pay for anything at this point, right? Like that's where I was, man. I was 2.5, 3 years ago. I was living in my aunt's basement with negative money, like probably a 400 credit score, nothing to my name, except a vision of where I wanted to be and what I had to do to get there. And that's what led me to that first deal, man. And that's why there was no other way. There was no other road for me, right? It was either I succeeded in this and I got that first deal done and went on to do more deals, or I was like, like one step from homeless, man. So there was no other direction I could go but up. And that's the situation you have. Even if you're not in that situation, that's the mindset that you got to bring to the table if you're going to be successful in this. You got to think about it like the only way I can possibly go is up.
They say that's a big motivator for people too, that disgust, or you just so you just beat so bad you can't do nothing but succeed. And sometimes it takes that push to get over the hurdle. What's up, Uncle Charles? I see my guy down in Texas there. So yeah, they so when it comes to doing stuff like that, I know you said you started with mail. I mean, I know you've seen it before it got into all this digital space, everything, voicemail, text, all this digital stuff now. But when you started from doing a lot of mail in the beginning to now, how's that look?
Yeah, so it's changed drastically. So when we first got into the game, we got into it, like probably a lot of people do. You hear some advice from some gurus out there that maybe wholesaled, 20 years ago, and that's what worked then. And we didn't know that there was anything else, right? Like all we knew was that people sent mail, and then from mail, you got phone calls, and you could potentially do deals that way. So that's what we did. We did everything that the guru suggested at that time. We used their postcard, we used their mail provider. We didn't know, much beyond that, right? So that ultimately it got us to that first deal, which was great. But then we knew that there had to be a better way, to do a lot of this stuff. And that's kind of where we progressed today, right? It was with out of the box thinking and really thinking about how can we do this at a high level? What are some of the things that other high level businesses do that aren't even in this industry, like in regards to their marketing and how they actually go out and they prospect customers. And so now, we focus on more of an omni-channel marketing approach, because one thing I'll tell you, Chris, is that there are people out there that will tell you that direct mail is dead and you shouldn't mail because you can text message and you can RVM and you can do all these other things, right? But there is a fallacy to that, right? Direct mail is not dead. Even to this day, we do probably 150,000, if not more per month in just direct mail alone. So direct mail is very much still alive. Is it the most cost-effective marketing channel? No, but is it going to reach certain people or have a certain response mechanism with certain people that you can't get through a text message or a phone call? Shit, there may be some people that you can't even get a phone number for, that they could use your service, my service, whatever service. You just can't get a phone number for these people. Maybe the person's 85 years old. Maybe they don't even have a phone. How are you going to reach them then? So you got to have alternate methods to reach alternate people. So that's kind of what we've brought to the table is to be able to do things in the most cost-effective manner, but also monitor everything and be able to do things to reach the most amount of people as well, right? So if we can't get a hold of somebody through a text message or a phone call, we'll send you a piece of mail. We can't get a hold of you with a piece of mail, we'll show up at your front door.
Door knocking is still in too, huh?
It is, man. It's just all about how you use these things, right? Like, I would never advise somebody to try and scale a wholesaling business through door knocking, right? It's very much cost ineffective. But if you have a dedicated team of highly motivated door knockers in a particular area, and you only utilize them to go and reach all the people that you've exhausted every other option, and you know that that person has some level of distress, then door knockers can become all of a sudden very cost effective. But you have to apply them in the right way.
So you have to already almost have a mapped out thing for them, a little grid to say hit this, hit this.
Exactly. You
And
can't have them scouring over the whole city, because basically, if I got to go door to door to every single house in the city, I'm not going to get very far, right? I'm limited by the amount of doors that I can hit per day. I can only talk to so many people. But if I've already blown through the whole city with other marketing channels that are more scalable, and now I have a more niche list of everyone that's left, then I can give that to those people where they're working off of a smaller, more targeted list, and they can be hitting those people and have great success that way. So that's why I don't discredit any marketing channel, but I think there are very specific uses for specific marketing channels.
yeah, because like when I started with bandit signs. I put about, I don't know, 600 of them out around myself. That was a lot of
Yeah.
work, but you know,
Oh, yeah.
it works. People say, oh, it don't work, but them people call, they ready to go. It's, you know, to sit up and say it don't work is silly, you know. And I don't even know. I guess you could say it's market specific too, kind of in a way. But then again, I still think all of these marketing channels work. Is there any one of them that you would say is one to just stay away from altogether?
The only one that we actually stay away from right now is RVM, and just because there is a little bit more legislation that's starting to get brought out surrounding it, and we have seen people get into some trouble using it. Do people still use it and have great success doing it? Yes, absolutely. It's just, when you scale a business to the level that we've scaled it, and you have a lot more to lose at this point, you have to regulate your business a little bit more than back when you're kind of like just trying to get started and you don't really have anything to lose, right? Like when we were doing our first deal, I didn't give a damn if I got sued, if I got arrested, whatever it took, because I didn't have nothing to lose, man. I couldn't go down any further. What are you going to take from me? You can't take what I don't have. So,
Right.
but now that the stakes are higher, you have to be more cognizant of the different things going on, and be able to protect yourself and limit your liabilities. So that's the only thing really that we stay away from. We also at this point do stay away from bandit signs, because it's probably one of the lesser, in my opinion, one of the lesser scalable models. And it's also, it can be expensive, and then you got to deal with the cities, and just random people tearing your damn signs down and stuff like that. So we don't do any bandit sign marketing, but other than that, man, everything is fair game. If you can place a best and highest use case to that marketing channel, it's absolutely doable.
That makes perfect sense. And so you say you stay away from the RVM or ringless voicemail. Wouldn't that be the same as a call, or what's different about that? Or is it something in your state that's going on?
Yeah, so there's definitely state specific stuff. Like in Florida, for instance, they've just banned it altogether. And then with TCPA regulations, what we found, they do fall under the same regulations as SMS. But what we found is that the ringless voicemails tend to piss people off more. I don't know what it is about them. The fact that maybe you tricked somebody. We get a lot more angry phone calls come in, and then there's a lot more human interaction going on between the sellers and our sales team, which ultimately can lead to, I don't know, through human interaction, you can lead to passing along pieces of information about your company that you shouldn't, or something of that nature. And then you can open yourself up to a lawsuit. With text messaging, it doesn't seem to piss people off as much, in my opinion. If someone doesn't want to do a deal with you or whatever, they'll either A, not respond to you, or B, they'll just tell you they don't want to do it. And that's pretty much the end of the scenario. With RVM, we would get a lot of pissed off people, and I think it was because of the fact that they thought they were speaking to a real person, and then it turned out that they were being kind of fooled, and so that pissed them off, that they took the time to listen to the voicemail that they thought was a real person. Yeah.
So wait a minute. So you saying on a ringless voicemail, y'all were making it sound like a regular conversation at first or something?
Yeah,
or what?
yeah, we were. Yeah, so it had its pros and its cons, man. Like it had a really a good benefit in the fact that a lot of people would you know, they thought they were on this real conversation. And so it prompted them to get to the whole point where they were, you know, coming through. But then at the same time, it was like, it would, some of the people, it would either really work or really piss people off. One of the two, man. There was no in between.
Wow, because we've never used it that way to make it like a fake call, like
Yeah.
hello, yeah, you know, and anything like that. We've always just said, yeah, I'm not sure if I got the right phone number or not. Call me back, you know, it was just a message. We never did it like a fake call. I mean, I guess that could work. I never tried it, but you give me ideas. Let me write that down. No.
Yeah. No, trust me, man. You'll get deals that way, no doubt. But you'll also get some pissed off people. So it's like you got to weigh the options.
I guess no matter what we do, somebody could be pissed off though, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man.
some-
Look, if there was no regulation surrounding it, man, we would still be doing it to this day, you know.
So you're in the Florida market too, or are you just doing New Jersey and what other markets?
Yeah, so right now we're actually in New Jersey, Atlanta, and Tampa.
Okay, everybody want to be in Atlanta, and people been running out of Atlanta, coming to St. Louis and all these other places. So you go right to I guess there's some money there or something if you go straight into that market.
Yeah, there's a lot of inventory there, man. And to be honest with you, you know, for us, we tend to look at markets where, you know, there's a lot of inventory so that we have no problem scooping up deals. And then also things where it's very cookie cutter, right? Which is difficult in New Jersey. Nothing is cookie cutter here. It makes the process very difficult at times to comp properties. And there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through, which is great. It's a barrier to entry for a lot of people. Which is great that we started here, but when we move into markets now, we want it to be fluid and a lot easier of a process for us. So we'll look at things with a newer housing inventory, where, you know, it's just cookie cutter. We can comp things out quickly. There's a lot of inventory out there. So Atlanta's been great, man. And people that say it's saturated are people that just aren't doing the game right. To me, saturation is going to depend upon the level of competition. You know, if you pit us up against a lot of these other people that are in the game, we're just going to outperform. And so it doesn't really feel much like competition. It's no disrespect, but that's just the reality.
Tell them get down or lay down. That's right. So the people listening over here on Clubhouse, if you want to get the full experience, hop over to the YouTube channel at ChrisMonroeSTL. We're on with Cory Rd. He's giving us some marketing tips and strategies. And Shanita Blue here on Facebook says, I've never gotten a call back from direct mail. Give us some basic overall stuff when it comes to direct mail that people should do or stay away from.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, our direct mail is pretty simple, man. We have a two-pronged approach with it. So again, we go for cost effectiveness first. So we'll send a postcard first. And that postcard is very basic, right? We also texture our postcards so that they stand out from what you would get in a typical like stack of mail, right? So the thing about the postcard is two-pronged, right? First and foremost, if I don't put my message inside of an envelope, I've eliminated one step of the process, right? Which is now I have to get somebody to open the envelope to look at my message. So 50% of your people right there are not going to open your envelope. They're just going to trash you right out of the gates. So then you just spent all that money for nothing. I at least want to get eyes on my message. So that's the beauty of postcards, right? Is that people have to look at them before they throw them away. Like they at least have to give you a glance. And if they're halfway interested at that point, they might either save your postcard or take the time to give you a phone call. So one thing that we do to differentiate ourselves amongst other postcards, and this may or may not be effective, you know, it's very hard to kind of track this and see, but, you know, make your postcard an odd size or an odd shape or something like that that makes you stand out from the other pieces of mail so that you don't wind up in that junk mail category. Make your postcard a texture. Yeah, there you go.
Not a deal machine postcard. That's a basic one. That's an old one.
yeah. But make your postcard.
I want that house too. Never gonna be able to get it.
Oh shit! Which one is that?
I don't know. It's like 6 bedrooms though.
Oh yeah, shit. Well,
and vacant. So
can't beat that.
That's right. And so those are some basic things as far as the mail. So when you do that and send it out, do you get them to call back to a voicemail or call back to get a live person?
Always a live person. I can't stress that enough. Some of these people, man, it's like you get one shot, right? Like they call you, and then if you don't pick up, they're on to the next person, or you just never get them back on the phone, right? So we definitely always have them in contact with a live person. The only time we can't get in contact with a live person is like maybe sometimes through the weekend or something like that, you know, that they might get, pot off the voicemail, but then our salespeople are on top of it. They're typically calling them back like very shortly after, or or like the very first thing on Monday. So in select cases like that, but we always try and have them reach a person like right away.
Right. So a live person answering the call, so there's no mistaking like, oh, well, I tried to call you back and you didn't answer. And now we're like, no, and it's already hard enough to get them to call.
Yeah.
So yeah, so mail is one of them. And you say you do, so y'all do cold calling too, or what?
Yep. We do cold calling, we do SMS, we do digital marketing, pay-per-click, Facebook. We do it all, man.
Yeah, that pay-per-click, you better bring your good wallet with you for that one, right?
You do. Yeah. It's like I said, man, it fits in, but it's all about, it really is all about, like trying to reach people with the cheapest marketing channels first, and then really keeping a good track of who you've gotten in contact with, who you haven't gotten in contact with, and then kind of going down the ladder in attempts to reach these people, right? Like if I just targeted everybody, like too many people I think make this mistake, right? Where they just gravitate towards one marketing channel that they seem to have some success with, and they just go all in on that marketing channel, regardless of how much it costs or the people that they may or may not be having, effectiveness with that marketing channel. And it, like when you take that one-dimensional approach, you're just bound to fail or just to cap yourself out, right? Mm-hmm. Versus if I can spend the least amount of money possible to target, and get in touch with the most amount of people possible, and then pull out all those deals, essentially the low-hanging fruits. And then now I have a remainder of people that I have to still get in touch with. And now I'm on to the next, most expensive marketing channel or the next marketing channel that I can do to reach those people. And if that doesn't work, I'm on to the next. And you just kind of keep putting them through this funnel from least expensive to most expensive. And ultimately, you wind up with a very slim like margin of people actually that you have to ultimately like still get in touch with. And if you get in touch with somebody through a particular marketing channel and that marketing channel works and you can't close the deal, then you know what? Follow up with that person consistently after that. And again, we follow up in the cheapest way possible. And if we can't get in touch with you with that, we'll revert back to how we got in touch with you in the first place. And that seems to work really well.
I was just definitely finna ask you that. At what point do you give up on that list or that person that you haven't got an answer from yet?
When they tell us to go kill ourselves, man.
So don't give up the marketing. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing, man. We've had people tell us no countless times. And then that one day something in their life changes or shifts, and that's the day. And if you're the person that's been in contact with them the longest or you're front of mind, you're getting that deal. It's not a matter of if in this, it's just a matter of when, right? Like, and it's about being in touch with the person at the right time. I can't even stress that enough, man. It's all about timing in this. So instead of taking luck out of the equation, it's like consistently hitting these people every single month so that like once a month, regardless of what's happening, they are hearing from you.
Whether it's in print, whether it's from a call, whether it's a text, something, you're going to know we exist.
Oh, yeah.
So once you get these people, you track them down, you find them. How do you give us some tips or something on negotiating? How do we get them to the price points we want to get them to?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a phenomenal question, man. So what we do, and this is where our business differs a little bit from probably a lot of the other organizations out there, is that we have an actual underwriting team that is designed to just actually evaluate properties. So when we can get sellers on the phone, we're trying to do like everybody else. We're trying to build rapport with the seller. We're also capturing property information and details from the seller, all this information that we can pass along to our underwriting team so we can analyze the deal and be able to come up with the best possible offer, right? Once we're able to come up with that offer, our acquisitions team is really leveraging the underwriting team, because now you have kind of a buffer between you as the acquisitions person and the person who came up with this number, right? So what tends to happen when you don't have that buffer is that people will be like, you're responsible for the number. Like, why can't you do the price that I want? But now you're kind of like almost pawning it off onto this other part of the organization that really came up with this number and tied your hands. And now it's kind of like me and you against the company or against the underwriting team. And so that's how we tend to phrase it. quite a bit when we deal with these people. But, you know, it's the typical negotiation strategies, man. It's asking people what the best they can do is, you know, time after time after time, building as much rapport, establishing credibility, really trying to plant seeds of doubt into the seller's mind about working with other investors or other wholesalers that may not be able to close. You know, a bunch of different strategies.
So you'll go ahead and just tell them all them other people fake, come deal with us.
Yeah, man. I mean, in a you know, in so many words. Yeah. I mean, you know, because honestly, the way that we're evaluating these deals, I mean, we really are offering these people from a wholesale standpoint, pretty much the most that you can offer, right? So if they're telling me that somebody else that's an investor is offering them, you know, $20,000 more than us, chances are that person is going to get into a deal with somebody and they're not going to be able to close, and they're just going to be locked into a contract for a couple of months. So we'll plant those seeds of doubt and tell people, look, man, we have a lot of money behind us. We do a lot of deals. You know, with that being said, if this person is really telling you that they can offer you $20,000 more than us, I think you're getting into a situation where that person is going to lock you in contract. You're not going to be able to close, and you're going to waste a bunch of your time and money. And people, you know, will recognize that. And so we do try to leverage our size and, you know, our, you know, just the fact that we are very established in the market and we've done a lot of transactions. You know, we try to leverage our credibility essentially.
So you let them know the truth. Say, all right, you can do that if you want to. If it don't go through, I'm trying to let you know I'm your buyer. Don't play around.
Yeah. And look, man, sometimes they come back to us and they don't go with the other person. Sometimes they go with the other person. And a lot of those times what winds up happening is exactly what we said. They get into contract for a price that doesn't really make sense. They kick the can down the road, and then they have to get out of contract, and they're calling us like, I need to get out of contract with this guy. I should have listened to you guys. And we get a lot of deals back that way. And I have to tell our acquisitions people and our underwriting team, hey, look, if that's the situation, you got to let it play out sometimes. We know our price. We have to stick to that price. Let the people know if they want to go that direction. Just stay in contact with them, man. Hey, we know you're in contract with XYZ buyer. We're still here for you. We're still at the same number. You know, if things don't work, let us know. And they do.
I know that's right. And so are you doing more so the virtual type strategies where y'all locking it up under contract before you go see it? Or are you sending the boots out on the ground first? Or how y'all going about doing, like, when you're doing these multiple markets?
Yeah, so we do it pretty uniquely, man. So we never look at the property before we actually get it under contract. So we'll do that entirely virtually, just based upon the information that the seller's giving us. And then from there, when we're under contract, we actually have a boots on the ground representative that goes out and does a 3D virtual Matterport tour for us. And that's how we actually sell all of our properties. We don't hold property showings. It's all done through the 3D virtual Matterport tour, which is amazing, right? Because in a traditional setting, and what most people do is they'll take photos or whatever, and, you know, they'll take videos, and then they'll have an in-person showing. And maybe you got a list of 5,000 buyers, but maybe 30 of them show up to your showing. You can bet your ass that you're limited to 30 people now that you need to sell that deal to. It's like one of those 30, you're taking it or you're done. For us, if we have a list of 5,000 people, I can market to all 5,000 of them, and they can all virtually walk through every square inch of that property as many times as they want. And so now my offer base is limited to 5,000 people instead of 30. And I also don't have to have anyone going out to the property and staying there for 2 or 3 hours to show it that I have to pay for. I don't have to have any risk of somebody trying to talk directly to the seller and steal the deal out from under my nose. I eliminate all that, and I increase my chances of selling the property, and for a higher price, because I have so many more offers coming in on it. So we implemented that during COVID, and then we just never turned back, man. It's been absolutely game changing.
So this 3D virtual Matterport, you called it?
Yep.
So we do just video, and I know it seems like you're embracing technology. We got the technology to do all this other stuff, so why not? Yeah. So that 3D virtual Matterport, somebody have to go out there and do the video, even if it's like tenant occupied, they can still do the same thing, I guess.
Yep, exactly. So whether or not it's tenant occupied, vacant, owner occupied, we have a representative that comes out, there's a special camera that you get from this company called Matterport. Camera will cost you about $2,000, but then you have that camera for, for life. You purchased it. So they come out, syncs directly up with their phone, and they come out with the tripod and the camera. And essentially you place the camera down in the rooms and it does its thing. And whatever crazy technology it is, it winds up giving you like a literal 3D tour of the property that literally feels like you're walking through the property, like you're physically there. You can see everything. You're not limited to like a video. It's like, if you want to turn and look at this wall, you could turn and look at it. Or if you want to look at the floor, the cabinets. So it's an amazing technology, man. I know I had seen it used in like, when people were leasing like apartments or in like luxury home settings and stuff like that, when people wanted to bring more attention to the property. And then we just started using it for COVID because at one point New Jersey was going to stop allowing you to hold showings. And so we're like, how do we think outside the box? How do we hold showings without holding showings? And that's what we landed on. And then it opened our eyes to the fact that, like, without COVID even, this is way better than what we were doing before. Why is everybody not doing this? And so it's been wildly successful, man. We've seen the assignment fees come way up, and it's just taken a lot of the stress off of our plate on the dispo side.
And so is this, can it just be used on like an iPhone or something, or is it an app, or is it the same as that panoramic thing on the cameras, or is it something different?
Yeah, it's like this kind of like weird camera that sits on top of a tripod, and then it like spins around and does like whatever scans it needs to of the room, but you operate it with your phone. So you can operate it with an iPhone or an Android. Very easy to operate, very easy to train somebody to use. So we get a couple of people that would normally be like the same people that you would get to take pictures or something like that, or a video for you. We get those people. You have about 5 or 6 of them lined up. And then you just essentially, whenever it's time to go do a Matterport, you hit up those people, and who's ever available goes out and does the Matterport. And it's very inexpensive, man. We pay them, I think, like $50, $50 a Matterport.
So that's the best $50 you're gonna spend on that one, then, because you don't have to show the house. So are buyers real receptive to that? Are they able to just say, yeah, I can make a decision from this, or they want to still go out and see it? Because some old school buyers, I gotta go smell the house. I'll be like, man,
Yeah, no, you're right, man. We had a guy one time tell us that he got to put his hands on it. I was like, you trying to buy the house? You trying to make love to the house, man? What are you trying to do? No, some people are, some people aren't, but over time they become receptive to it. And it's all how you phrase it too, right? Like, you let them know the reason why, and you let them know that it's for their benefit, right? Typically, if a buyer goes out and sees a house, they got about 5 minutes inside the house to see everything they want to see, and then they never see it again, right? So if they're like, man, I can't remember now if that one wall was this or if that, this is very easy. We tell them, like, look, this is for your benefit, right? Because now you have the ability to walk through this house 100 times if you want, look at every square inch of the property. Oh, you want your contractor who wasn't available to come see it with you during the showing time? Have him walk through it virtually with you. Have his, you could have whoever you want walk through this property virtually, your realtor, whatever the case. So when you phrase it like that to them, then they actually start to think, wow, this actually is a lot better than me just going out there one time. But it's about opening their mind to that, right? And we give them contingencies also in the contract for things that they may not be able to see, right? So if there's like structural damage, in excess of X amount of dollars, or some environmental issue or something like just wildly crazy.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And so you let the people go ahead and take a look at it. They do their 3D virtual tour. They can make their offers right then and there. It just makes the whole transaction smoother, I guess, huh?
Very easy, man. Very easy to deal with. Not nearly as many logistical nightmares that you deal with in terms of trying to set up showings and have to make an excuse as to why there's like 30 people running through the property. I mean, anybody with half a brain, you could tell them like, oh, this is my contractors and partners and whatever. And it's like 30 people. I mean, you got 30 contractors and partners and whatever coming through my house. And inevitably, some of them probably try and talk to the seller, and then it makes it very awkward. It's just a much better approach.
So it just really reduces the showings altogether. If any showings, you might have to do just that one thing and you're ready to go to closing.
We've not showed a property since we started doing this, and that's no exaggeration. It's no joke. We've not had a single showing. We've sold all of our properties with this.
So you've implemented in all the markets you're in as well?
Every market, yep.
Wow, that's cool. For the people listening in on Clubhouse, I'm talking to Cory Rd. If y'all want to get the full experience, hop on over to the YouTube channel at ChrisMonroeSTL. Also, if you are listening here, if you do have questions about anything that we're speaking about, drop it in the comments. We'll try to get to it before we wrap this thing up today. So, Cory, when it comes to this, I can make $300,000 on a $15,000 ad spend. Tell me about that. How does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, it's absolutely 100% doable. Yeah, I alluded to it throughout our conversation, right? Which was, you have to structure your marketing in a way where you become very cost effective, right? So you don't just go out and just say, you know what, I cold call, and that's what I do. So I'm going to cold call everybody, right? Because inevitably you're going to reach you're going to reach people that, sorry, you're not going to reach some people because you're just not going to get a phone number for them or a correct phone number for them. Or some people are just going to be people that don't want to talk on the phone. I'm sure that if you've been doing this business for a while, you've done business with somebody who just wants to text message. They don't want to talk on the phone, right? So your cold callers are going to be ineffective in that scenario. Or again, the people that you can't get phone numbers for. How are you going to reach those people if you can't physically get a phone number? Those are just going to be people you don't get to do deals with, right? So I love that, because the best lists that you can hit are the lists that nobody else is hitting. There's no other more motivated list than the list that's not getting hit up by every other wholesaler. So if every other wholesaler is thinking direct mail is dead and they only text and cold call and RVM and they don't ever touch those people that they can't get a phone number for, I love that, because that's a whole list of people that I can be the only person or one of very few people that those sellers are talking to, which inevitably is going to be the juiciest deals for me. Right? I don't care if you're in the most distressed situation humanly possible known to man. If there are 50 other wholesalers talking to you, the price is not going to be good. You're not going to be in a juicy deal scenario. You could have someone who's a lot less motivated to sell, but there's just not that many people, if any people, talking to them, and that's going to be a deal that's going to have a lot more meat on the bone. So that's why we structure it in that approach. And again, the most cost-effective manner. So I wipe out everybody that I can possibly wipe out with text messaging because it is so cheap. So if I can get in touch with you with text messaging, which costs me half a cent, why then am I going to why would I ever waste money cold calling you, which is going to cost me a lot more? It's probably going to cost me on average, I don't know, 30 cents or so if you really did the numbers. So now that's literally 6 times the amount of money. So if you're just cold calling, that's all you do in your operation. I'm reaching the same people as you for a sixth of the price, of the price. So right there, just implementing those basic strategies are going to exponentially give you more ROI on your marketing spend by simply targeting people with the most cost-effective marketing channels first, and then putting them through a funnel where they will ultimately, trickle down. If you can't get in touch with them through this, and this, they will ultimately trickle down into the more expensive marketing channels like mail.
And that's exactly what they're asking here on Facebook. She says, is Cory using a funneling system?
Yeah, so it very much is a funneling system, and it very much comes down to data sanitization on the front end. So you have to make sure that your data is legit and that it's sanitized, right, and standardized. So what I mean by that is, if I don't have all my data in a standard format across the board, I may get 123 Main Street, like 123 Main ST, and then I may also get 123 Main Street, and then I may also get 123 Main ST period. And to me, in my system, this looks like 3 properties, right? So now I'm hitting this person 3 times. So now I'm spending 3 times the marketing dollars, right? So you have to sanitize your data up front so that you only have one of each given person that you can potentially reach out to. And also, if somebody owns multiple properties, a lot of people just pull the list and they just send it off, right? Well, now I just sent this, like, let's say I'm sending postcards. Let's say I have Bob Smith who owns 7 properties. I only need to send Bob 1 postcard, right? If he's interested in selling anything, I just need to get in front of him one good time, and I can talk to him about all 7 of his properties or whichever ones he's interested in selling. But a lot of people don't take the time and the foresight to do this and to clean their lists and their data properly. So they send Bob 7 different, 7 different pieces of mail, or they send Bob, they got 7 different cold callers calling Bob about a different property. And it ultimately drives up your marketing spend. It doesn't seem like it's that much at first, but then when you scale out your business, if you don't correct this on the front end, you wind up spending exponentially more marketing dollars. And I feel like a lot of people lose sight of this when they scale. They just want to scale and they want to see the revenue amounts climb, but they don't pay attention to the bottom line and what the profit margins actually look like and the ROI that they're receiving on their marketing dollars. So that's the first and foremost, the 2 simplest things you can do. We do some things that are above and beyond this, right? Because inevitably in the business we're in, we want to get in touch with the people who have the highest likelihood to sell their property at a discount, right? That's why people get these different lists that they have, you would think they would have some sort of motivation at that point if they fit one of these different lists. We've taken it a step further and we've implemented what's called predictive modeling. So that's where we actually take a list of, like, let's say every single homeowner in an area that we want to be in, and we actually will run credit profiles on all these people where we pull out all these different data points and look at it current versus historic. And we can actually determine, based upon these different data points that we funnel through an algorithm, who is going to be the people that are the most likely to sell to an investor or to sell their property at a discount, right? So now I don't have to go extremely broad in my search, right? Everyone that I target is extremely targeted. I know without a doubt that those people have a high likelihood to sell me their property. So I can target every single person in the state of New Jersey, but I'm only hitting the people that have the highest likelihood to sell to an investor. And we monitor all this stuff like very, very intently. So every month we will look at every single deal that sold in the areas that we are buying in. And if we didn't buy that deal, we're looking at, did we send that person a piece of marketing? Okay, if we sent them a piece of marketing, did we get in touch with them? If we got in touch with them, where did we fail in the deal? Did we not offer high enough in this? So was our underwriting team mistaken? Did our acquisitions team not build enough rapport? Why was it that we didn't get this deal? Because our goal is to get every single deal in every single area that we're marketing in. Why shouldn't we? Right? So you can actually backtrack it and look and see every single deal that sold to an investor and figure out why it was that you didn't get that deal. Why did somebody else get that deal and not me? And we run all that data back through the algorithm to constantly improve it, because the algorithm will look at the statistics on that deal that sold to an investor, and it'll adjust the data and say, okay, we actually need to adjust our standard deviation, or we need to adjust something here, right, in the instructions that would encompass that person. And that's how you consistently grow and build the algorithm to bigger and better as time goes on. You just keep refining it and keep putting these investor sales through it and looking at different data points. And that's how we do it, man. That's really what leads to a lot of how we're able to make so much money with so little marketing spend, because everything we do is so fine-tuned and so targeted.
So are you having a virtual assistants or somebody scrub or sanitize the list, as you called it, to make it perfect? And then how do you know which one should you be using? Should you be using ST street or ST period? How do you know which one of those is the right one?
So that's a good question. And there is no right one, right? As long as it's all the same every time, right? Like whether you use ST or whether you use the full word street or whether you use ST period, as long as you do it the same way every single time, that's what ultimately matters. Because then the next time you pull that same person, you know that they're going to be ST period, just like they were ST period the time before. So you can eliminate them from the marketing, right? So For us, we do it all through, through using software, either Excel programs, or we also use a company. Oh, what are they called now? Monarch.
So what do they call now? They all change names.
Yeah, man, and a lot of that is handled by my business partner too. He's the real techie guy. So he handles a lot of that, and he actually, was the one to set that all up with them. But yeah, through Excel programs and Monarch is what we use to actually, clean and standardize our data. And we run it all through CAS and all those systems like that to make sure the postal addresses are correct and all the formatting is exactly the same across the board every single time. We're never skip tracing a record twice unless that record changes down the line. After a certain period of time, we'll run them again just to make sure that the numbers haven't updated and things like that. But it's all just very structured and consistent.
Okay, that makes sense. So the software. So pick what you're gonna do: st.st or street spelled out or boulevard spelled out, and
Yep.
stick to that. That's basically the moral of the story, right?
Yeah. Or if you just use a software that does it, right, then it'll do it the same way every single time. So software is definitely the way to go, because unless you change softwares, that software is going to be able to do it for you the same every single time. And even if you do change softwares, just as long as you know what it was doing the first time, when you move to a different software, just make sure it's formatting it the same way.
Right. That makes perfect sense. Shanita Blue wants to know, how do you recruit boots on the ground?
It's a good question. It depends what type of boots you're trying to recruit. But for us, like for instance, the 3D Matterport people, we get a lot of them. They're Uber drivers, actually. So we'll join the Facebook groups in all these different markets for Uber and Lyft drivers, and we'll advertise in those Facebook groups and say, hey, we're looking for somebody, if you're traveling around this area, who can be available from time to time to stop into properties and do these quick Matterport tours. And those people are phenomenal. They generally, are it's a good pay for them considering whatever they're getting, driving Uber or Lyft, and they're already out on the go anyways. So we utilize a lot of those people, actually.
And they'd be glad to go make a quick $50. They say you're actually giving them the Matterport camera. It's connected to the phone.
Yeah, so they actually do have to take the camera there physically. So what we do is we actually will have a storage unit. You can get one, like, since the camera is so small, you can get a storage unit for like $10 a month. You just place it strategically, like in the center of wherever you're marketing. And then they go to the storage unit, they collect the camera, they take it out and go to the appointment, do the Matterport, and they'll drop it back off at the storage unit.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they ain't going to get you for that $2,000 camera, are they?
Nope, and they all sign contracts and everything with us, man. So if one of them try to run off with the camera or damages the camera, they're on the hook for the camera. So
I know that's right. Somebody say that's the camera realtors use and real estate photographers. I guess. Yeah, I think I did see that on a listing, like $1 million listing before.
Yeah.
But you brought it to the wholesale space.
yeah, a lot of the high-end listings, man, they use the Matterport tours. Yeah.
Angelo wants to know, are there any more tips in Florida? They want to get some deals in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, everything I mentioned applies in whatever market you're in. So there's really nothing that we do like very specifically for Florida that we don't do anywhere else. I mean, there's differences in the way you have to evaluate properties. I would encourage people to be evaluating properties differently depending upon the market that you're in to maximize on the returns. It all plays into it, right? Like, for instance, again, if you want to be able to get the maximum amount of money out of your marketing spend, you have to be able to be getting the most amount of deals, right? If you're just doing, like, for instance, good friend of mine, man, and a mentor to me, starting out in this business, Rafael Vargas, what he would do is he would just have his people looking on the MLS for cash comps and seeing what properties sold for cash, and have his acquisitions team just go and lock it up for lower than whatever the properties around it were selling cash. And they would do that very quick and, like, on the fly, right? But what happens when you do that is you leave a lot of money on the table, right? Because you're not detailed looking into every single deal and evaluating it in its best and highest case use scenario and really being able to maximize in the offer. So you probably get beat out on a lot of those properties because some other investor who's not doing as much volume maybe is looking at that one specific deal and knows he could offer more, and he beats you out on the price. For us, we disqualify people based upon some factors, and then everyone else that's not disqualified is getting brought over to our underwriting team. So we know exactly what the MAO is that we can offer on these people. And so that's why we're able to really maximize on pulling out the most deals. And like I told you, we look back and we see every deal that sold to an investor. And if it's an underwriting issue, we're like grilling the underwriting team. What was it that we missed on this deal, right? Why weren't we able to offer as much as this guy? And you start to just kind of fine tune that system.
So yeah, they did something magical. How they get more?
Exactly.
So I know you said you have your Matterport and you have them do the video and the buyers and all of that. Give us some tips on finding cash buyers.
Yeah, that's a whole another thing, man. But you can apply a lot of these same strategies to buyers too, right? Like you got to market. If you want to have a phenomenal cash buyers list, you have to market to buyers just like you market to sellers, right? So for us, what we really use, I would say the bulk of what we use is the tax records, right? Every buyer that buys a property wants to get that property into an entity at some point in time, right? So whether they buy it in an entity up front or whether they buy it in their personal name and then they transfer it into an entity, if you're a legitimate buyer, more chances than not, you're trying to get it into an LLC or a trust or something like that at some point to limit your liability so that they don't go sue you, Chris Monroe, personally, right? They're suing Woke LLC, not Chris Monroe, right? So whenever that deed transfer happens to be able to place in an entity, it's always captured through the property tax records, right? So I can pull out every single LLC, every single trust, every single corporation from the property tax records. I can skip trace those people and I can market to them exactly like I market to sellers. So again, start with the most cost-effective marketing channels first, work your way out from there. And we have a whole marketing department that markets for buyers just like we market for sellers.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, they trying to sue me. They'll be practicing because I don't own anything. It's all,
Exactly.
all in trust. So good luck trying to find one. So yeah, that's how the gang go. You got to be safe, got to be protected. Make sure y'all get this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share. We're on with Cory Rd. He's giving us some tips to make your trips better. Let's see. What about working with real estate agents? Are you buying or doing anything with off the MLS?
Yeah, speaking of buyers, we don't buy anything off the MLS right now because it's just super, super competitive. There are probably some opportunities there if you really take the time, but well, how we work with realtors, man, is on the buyer side. So we'll target them the same way we target buyers. So we pull all the realtors who've done a deal, either working as the listing agent with a buyer who's flipping a property or who worked as for a buyer, in the purchase of a property. And we'll hit them up just like the buyer. So we'll text them, we'll cold call them, and we'll let them know, hey, we saw you did this deal with XYZ buyer on this property. We actually get a lot of properties in the area that are very similar. If you have connections with that person or with other buyers, we'd love to send you our deals. And that way you can put them out to your buyers and be able to make, money off of our marketing efforts and our deals. And obviously it's a no-brainer for them. So real estate agents are great, man. They're oftentimes, they come with like their own buyers list. So you add one real estate agent, you might add 100 buyers right out of the gates.
Buyers we never even knew, huh?
Yeah.
Because there are still people out here that really don't get on the internet like that. A lot of people don't realize that. They just rely on somebody else to go do it. Oh, they'll look it up for me. Like, you don't get on the internet at all? So yeah, there's some people to do that. Most definitely. Let's see here. Let's see. Shanita's asking a question. Yesterday we had a long room on Clubhouse and it was kind of controversial. So she wanted me to ask you the question. As a wholesaler, are you a real estate investor?
So my answer to that would be yes, right? To me, as a wholesaler, it is merely an exit strategy. I guess if all you do is wholesale, I don't know if I would necessarily classify you as a real estate investor. I would classify you more as a marketing company, really, if you're not ever holding any assets. If you're actually closing on assets and you're holding them for any period of time, I would classify you as a real estate investor. If you've never bought a single property in your entire life and you've only ever just wholesale deals, by way of assignment contracts, I don't know. I at that point, I really don't view you so much as a real estate investor as I view you as a marketing person. But the term real estate investor to me is comes with a grain of salt, right? Like, I really don't give a shit if anyone classifies me as a real estate investor or not. I care about whether or not I make money. So
Cut the check and give them my
yeah,
respect.
yeah. At the end of the day, like I said, my buyers can look at me and tell us we're whatever we are, and we're not investors because we don't, flip the properties, and we're not buying them. At the end of the day, man, hey, cut me my check. I'll take mine, and you be the real estate investor.
You can have all the titles you want.
Yeah,
The World Wrestling Federation champion.
exactly.
So I know you've been in the game a little over 5 years. It seems like. What kind of mistakes have you made that you feel like you've learned from?
Oh man, it's countless mistakes, man. Every day we're making new mistakes that we learn from, and we document all those mistakes. And every monthly, quarterly, annual meeting that we have, we're going over those mistakes and we're trying to learn from those mistakes and fix them so that they don't happen again, right? And I guess like off the top of my head, right, like a mistake that we encountered that was a big one that we corrected was don't ever assign too many of your properties to one given person, right? Because for a number of different reasons. A, you become almost reliant on that person. Your business becomes bound to theirs. And then B, if you ever have an event that happens where maybe that person doesn't want to do business anymore, or their money dries up, or whatever the case is, you have a big portion of your revenue banked on that person. So that could wipe out a whole month or a quarter of revenue for you. So for us, we have stuff in place now to where I don't care who you are. If you have a certain amount of revenue dollars in place with us, you are out of play from getting properties for us until you close on those.
Yeah, they want to have $1 million in escrow. Like, wait a minute, that's too much.
Yeah, it is, man. Because if anything goes wrong, that's a big portion of money that you no longer are able to actually capitalize on, right? So that's one thing that we had to learn the hard way, man. And now we've changed that, and we've implemented new processes surrounding that, and we're doing a lot better.
I know that's right. So how do you deal with that when people like, oh, I want to bring you a buyer? Like they see one of your deals, somehow they snuck on your list, some other wholesaler, and I want to bring you a buyer. Do you work with them on a JV, or do you do something where they can market your deal? How do you work that?
Yeah, I mean, we tell them, plain and simple, if we have our own buyer that's willing to pay the same price as theirs, then there's no sense in us working with them unless they can go on top of the price. And yeah, I mean, if people can go on top of the price, I want to see everybody win. So if I have a buyer for 250 who I'm not like overly confident about, and you have a buyer at 250 who, or at 260, and you're going to make 10, and I'm going to still make my same amount on the 250, and I feel more confident about your buyer, or the same level of confidence, but I can also get you paid. Of course, I'm going to go with you, man. We're team players. We want to make everybody, win, and we want to forge relationships and do business with people. So that's typically how we'll handle it. But we tell people point blank, like, these are the things that we want out of the buyer. We're going to be in direct contact with your buyer. And if you're not okay with that, then there's no business to be done here. But we try and make it a win-win scenario for those people, man, because we are, in the business of trying to make everybody win and build people up.
I know that's right. It's a people business. All right. So what kind of books, podcasts, and other resources would you recommend for somebody that want to get into this business or just get their mindset right as far as entrepreneurship?
Oh, you got to get on that Woke Real Estate podcast.
Hey.
Shameless plug. Look, man, one of the, podcasts, there are a bunch of them out there. Real Estate Disruptors has a great podcast. I feel like they interview a lot of people that are operating at a high level. So if you're trying to scale your business, that's a great one to look at. Wholesaling Inc. has a lot of wholesalers on the podcast. I mean, I listen to podcasts outside of real estate and whatnot too. And for books, phenomenal book that you guys got to read if you're trying to do anything with not only scaling a real estate business, but not scaling up. Scaling up's great too, but traction, kind of the precursor to scaling up. You can definitely, do wonders for your business reading that book. It'll, teach you how to structure things. And I mean, just the whole 9 yards, everything that you could want to know about a business. That's the book. If you need to just get the mindset to be an entrepreneur, read something like Rich Dad Poor Dad, where it just puts you in the place of like, damn, this entrepreneur thing is really possible. And I never really understood that. And that's how a lot of people get into the game, is they'll read something like Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it shifts their mindset. So those are all phenomenal books, but Traction is my my personal recommendation for you guys listening to this.
I know that's right. Cool, cool. So for people who may be listening to this on a replay, how do they connect with you outside of this here? If they want to know more about Cory Rd, what do we do?
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm always in rooms with Chris on Clubhouse, so check me out on Clubhouse. I'm dropping game just like this on there, virtually every single day. It's at Cory Rd on Clubhouse. And then if you guys want to get at me, offline for a little bit more personal questions or things that you guys have, just hit me up on Instagram. It's at Cory Charles Reed. You can see it right up there. Boom. Send me a DM, slide into the DMs, ask your questions, get to know me a little bit more. Let's see how we can work together, how we can do business together, especially if you're in New Jersey, Atlanta, or Tampa. Personally, reach out to me because I want to help you scale your business. I don't have a coaching program for you. I don't have a mentorship program for you, but I have a way that will scale your damn business up, no doubt, in any of those 3 markets right now.
Yeah, my guys, Tyshawn and Ryan was giving you big ups, like, yeah, man, we went and saw Cory, man. He's in, and I was like, dang, he did something that good. When other people saying you're doing good, you're doing good, right?
Yeah, man, I love those guys, bro. They came and we networked through Instagram, man. They came to the office and for a couple days and we masterminded, and I took some great information away from those guys and they took some information away from us, and they're implementing different things in their business now, man. They're absolutely crushing it. I'm excited to see those guys continue to scale up, and everybody else, man, the same thing, man. We're open book over here, so we hold nothing back.
There go my guy Terrell. He's down in Atlanta. Him and his son.
Hit me up, man.
In the ATL for sure. He was on here, I think, was it last year?
Nice.
So that's how we do it. Cory loves art. I see. Oh yeah, you got some art back there. What is that?
Yeah, man. That's the whole setup out here, bro.
Oh, you ain't playing. You ain't wasting no space.
Nah, man. You got to capitalize.
I had somebody come by and say, "Oh, you're a bachelor. You don't have any art on the walls." I said, "What? What kind of mess is that?" They threw me out, but oh well. So for anything else you're working on that you want to share with the people before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, man. The only other thing I would like to share with you guys, man, we're about to launch our CRM publicly. I attribute a lot of the same things I just talked to you guys about with our business, our principles, our systems. We've all built it all into our CRM. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's a game changer. It's changed the game for us, and we're going to release it out to the public for everybody else to capitalize on. I can tell you this, man, hands down, it's the best CRM out of the market for real estate investors, wholesalers, flippers. Hopefully eventually we'll have it structured for realtors to take advantage of. But if you're a wholesaler or flipper and you want to scale up your business, this is the first place to start, is to have an awesome CRM that does a lot of the work for you, takes a lot of the workload off your plate. And that's pretty much what we've done with this CRM. It's just everything has been built into this CRM, and like so much of the business has been automated and is tracked through the CRM now. It's a tool that I can honestly say if we lost it today, it would drastically change our business. So it's called Deal Flow, and we're launching it at the end of the month, or probably mid-March at this point. We're putting some final tweaks on it for everybody. So definitely hit me up about that. The website, which will be up before the end of the month, is dealflowcrm.com. Actually, it's not Dealflow CRM, dealflowrei.com.
They asked. Colleen was ready. She said, "How do we get it?" Hit him up. He'll get you the link for sure.
Yeah, hit me up on Instagram, and I'll put you to the website or wherever you need to go to get on. We'll get you a demo. You can see exactly how it operates, and that's a game changer for everybody right there.
All right. It looks like we got one more question from Miss H. She says, "What is the percentage you multiply the ARV by to get the MAO in Atlanta? What kind of formula are you using in Atlanta?"
So it again is very different across the board, right? If I underwrote every single one of my deals based upon a certain percentage of the ARV minus repairs, I'd leave a lot of deals on the table, because if I'm selling to a hedge fund, they don't give a shit about the percentage of ARV minus repairs. They care about the gross yield on a property and how much money they're going to be able to make, and if they can pay their investors the return that they promised, right? So you have to reverse engineer everything based upon your buyers, right? So first of all, you need to do a bunch of research and figure out what returns are my buyers actually looking for, and then evaluate every single property differently based upon a best and highest use case scenario for that property. So I'm not going to evaluate a rental property in the same way that I'm going to evaluate a property that I need to fix and flip. And I may not evaluate a rental property in one area the same way as I'll evaluate it in another area. Maybe in one area, they want 1% of gross rents, right? And maybe in another area that's more in the suburbs, they want 1.25% of gross rents. So only you can figure this out by having those detailed conversations with your buyers and figuring out exactly what they're looking for, and then reverse engineering these deals from there. So I know that's probably not the short, sweet answer that you wanted for that question, but that's the reality of it.
Know what your buyer wants. Moral of the story, you know, because a lot of people do make that mistake. Oh, but the ARV, like I was telling you before we went on live, my student used to do that. He was like, oh, but the ARV say this. That's nice for that, you know, that formula, but we're going to get this deal. The seller want to sell. He know you're not buying it. You already told him you're going to find him a buyer. Just do this here. Let's go get the deal. Don't even overstress it. So it's all about having good communication with them. Let's see. She says, sweet. Thanks so much. So that's cool. That's cool. All right. Thanks. So anything else, Cory, before we wrap this thing up?
No, man, that's it, man. I appreciate you having me on, brother. Thank you so much. I feel blessed to be a part of it.
All right. I appreciate you as well. And we'll see you out here definitely in these clubhouse streets and everywhere else for sure.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
All right. So that's how we do it, family, right here each and every Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. Put in the comments what you learned in this broadcast and this live stream. Even if you're watching on a replay, I like the people who come in on a replay say, you know, I missed the live, but I came and watched the whole thing. Put something smart in the comments. Let me know you came through. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Give it a like. Give it a share. I appreciate you all. Even the people that's listening over here on Clubhouse. Like I said, if y'all want to get the full experience and want to see the video, see our facial expressions, all that good stuff, hop on over to the YouTube channel at ChrisMonroeSTL. So hopefully you all have a great day. Stay warm, stay safe, do what you do, be who you be, and I'll see you before you see me. Peace.
And we have Mr. I stay. Whoa, and Mr. I stay.
Find more leads than you can even process. That's multiple listing service. That's the MLS for your real estate agents. Absentee owner information. Find the cash buyers and flippers in any market nationwide. Pull a pre-foreclosure list. And don't forget, you got to find those comps. Get nationwide access with multiple filters. Powered by PropStream at wokesource.com. Get your 7-day free trial today. wokesource.com. That's wokesource.com.
Get your free real estate joint venture agreement and get notified of upcoming shows. Text JV to 636-330-1444.
Today's broadcast is being brought to you by WokeSkipTracing.com. Look up phone numbers and email addresses with ease, with pricing as low as only 15 cents per match. Not per search, per match. If there's no number or email address, you don't pay. Get accurate data in just minutes. WokeSkipTracing.com. That's WokeSkipTracing.com.
You may have heard the saying, the fortunes are in the follow-up. Now there's a brand new system that is great to help you cold call, text message, drop voicemails, and so much more, all automated. You don't have to remember anything. Just set it and forget it. All you have to do is speak to people. Check it out, wokereply.com. It's a multi-touch marketing campaign where you can schedule to send text, voicemail, email, and even live calls all on autopilot. Check it out today, wokereply.com. That's wokereply.com.